In March 2022, an eviction took place here in Dublin, wherein a mother and her minor daughter were evicted, their house having been entered by a force of 19 men in Balaclava masks. And the first that the mother, Lisa Temple, knew of this was when they marched into her bedroom where she was asleep, and others marched into her daughter's, a minor's, bedroom. This case commenced hearing today in the Circuit Court before the jury here at the CCJ in Dublin. Now there's a few, like the trial is ongoing, but there's a few very glaring things which should be a matter of grave public concern. The first thing is, this straddled over two judges. Judge Patricia Ryan passed on the hearing to Judge Martin Nolan. She did so despite the fact that an application remained active and remains active before the court for disclosure of various elements of evidence, which still has not been made to her, yet the trial has commenced. Also, on upwards to 8 occasions at least over the last number of years, Lisa has attempted to employ legal aid with solicitors. On 2 occasions, Judge Patricia Ryan ordered counsel in court to represent Lisa Temple in the hearing. All of those legal professionals withdrew from the case. So here we have today, commenced in hearing in front of Judge Nolan, a hearing which could see a mother incarcerated, locked up. She's facing 3 charges. 1, that she produced an offensive weapon, being a taser, during the course of the eviction proceedings, and 2 counts of assault, minor assault charges on employees, security employees of Bank of Ireland. These are the charges she faced. She could be imprisoned, yet Judge Nolan thinks it is okay, and Judge Patricia Ryan thinks it is okay, to proceed to a hearing, despite the fact that when the charges were read out, both in front of Judge Ryan and again in front of Judge Nolan today, Lisa stood up on her own and said she did not understand the charges, that she would like to have professional legal aid to assist her to understand them, and she couldn't make a plea without understanding the charges. So the judge, in her wisdom, decided to enter a plea of not guilty on her behalf, something which I think is very questionable, because surely a person accused of a criminal offence is entitled to understand the charge against them, and they are entitled to legal aid. This is something enshrined in the European Convention on Human Rights and other places, basic criminal law, especially in a case where you could face losing your liberty, that you must be legally represented. So these basic fundamentals of justice have been thrown out the window, and the hearing has commenced with witnesses who, the county sheriff for Dublin at the time, Mr. Gallagher, I think it is his first name, admitted on the stand that his memory is slightly shady from the period involved, and therefore his recollection may not be exact. And in fact, in her questioning of him, Lisa completely demonstrated that yes, his recollection is AWOL. He didn't know how many security staff were working with him. He didn't know had they been in her bedroom, had they not been in her bedroom. He didn't know had they confiscated her telephone. Whilst in the middle of this eviction process, she had phoned a friend, and she will later produce a recording of this call, and they snatched the phone from her. They snatched her daughter's phone from her. Curiously, the sheriff admitted that even though he was advised, the word they had was that this could be a volatile situation. But even though they were advised that, the sheriff, acting in that knowledge, carried out no safety assessment or no risk assessment of what they were walking into. So on the morning, the sheriff had the audacity to say he arrived at the house, the door was opened, so he walked in, up the stairs, into the mother's bedroom, which of course wasn't true. He got a locksmith to open the door for him. Equally, somebody else opened the rear door of the house with screwdrivers. They broke the locks. In total, 19 men in balaclavas were required to take a woman who's under 5.5 foot, and her minor daughter, to remove them from the family home. That trial is ongoing. It doesn't look like justice will be served because everything looks, and the whole mood in the courtroom, from my experience of it today, is that she is to be convicted. That's the message. We'll have a further report on this at the end of the week. We expect this to run for a few days of a hearing. Good evening, Laura Midliver East. Gormagov.